There's now a man who stabbed his pregnant wife in Bangor. He stabbed her to death in Bangor more than 20 years ago. Went back before a judge this morning.
49-year-old Roscoe Sargent is serving a 50-year sentence for the 2003 murder of his wife, Heather, and their unborn son, Jonah. Sargent asked for a new trial in 2005, but a judge denied his appeal. Under Maine statute, he had 1 year after that to file for a post-conviction review, and Sargent didn't attempt to do so until 2021.
He claimed today he wasn't aware he could file that review on his own. He also said his ADHD made it hard for him to understand state law. Sargent's asking the judge to extend the time he has to file for post-conviction review. Prosecutors are asking for the motion to be dismissed.
I will say this too, that the extreme stress of living in the environments that I've lived in those penitentiaries also can make it very difficult just to even keep track of your own thoughts, just to stay focused on anything when you're constantly on the brink of war for whatever reason with various different groups, sometimes trying to kill each other.
There's an old principle of law called ignorance of the law is no excuse, and that applies here.
According to statements made in court, Sargent recently underwent a mental health review. The doctor found Sargent did not suffer from a debilitating mental illness that would have prevented a timely filing, but he does have ADHD and anxiety. The judge will issue his decision at a later date.